When the history of Kashmir post 1947 is written, that of Jammu and Kashmir, the history which is mostly consisting of terrorism, of separatism, of innocent lives being lost by Pakistan sponsored terrorism, of terrorism which has been backed by the separatists, there'll be few names which will feature repeatedly. If we come down to the 70s, to the 80s, to the 90s, and perhaps early 2000s until the UPA 2 era, there will be one name that will find a repeated mention, that of Syed Ali Gilani, the Hurriyat leader. Now, yesterday, Syed Ali Gilani resigned from the Hurriyat Conference, citing that he had been sidelined by the biggest separatist amalgamation in Kashmir. He said that the Hurriyat no longer needed him. For long, he has been trying to pitch his son as the obvious successor, but he has failed to do so. Now, there is the one obvious reason for that. The dynamics of Kashmir have changed since August 5 last year after the Article 370 was revoked. So, the one obvious reason of Syed Ali Gilani, 91-year-old separatist leader, leaving the Hurriyat Conference is that his fallout with Pakistan. Now, what is this fallout exactly about? Now, when Article 370 was revoked, if we go back to those times and the kind of coverage we'd seen in some factions of the media, people expected the people of Kashmir to rise in revolt. More so than that, the Pakistani agencies, the likes of ISI, the Pakistani government, they wanted the Kashmiri people to revolt. On the other hand, the separatists in India, the likes of Syed Ali Gilani, they were hoping for Pakistan to take the issue of Kashmir to the international bodies like the UN General Assembly and so on. They were hoping that Pakistan, on behalf of these separatists who for long had put a gun on the forehead of Indian government against revoking Article 370, they were hoping Pakistan would take some stringent action in the international bodies. But under Imran Khan, Pakistan is now not taken seriously anywhere, perhaps. So the one reason is the fallout with Pakistan. Both Pakistan and separatists have had a fallout amongst themselves. Now, you could take the Pakistani side into consideration also. They expected the separatists, they expected the likes of Syed Ali Gilani and the ones who have been running around him for long to provoke the people of Kashmir, to let them into a revolt, the one they were expecting, but that did not happen. It's been almost 1 year, nothing of that sort has happened. So for Pakistan, it's no longer about the separatist movement. It's no longer about the Azad Kashmir as they've always been saying since so many years, so many decades perhaps. It's about a pan-Islamic movement. If we go by the activities of the terrorists, most of them are focused on igniting rebels within the valley. They want to make rebels out of innocent civilians in the valley, citing that Kashmir somehow, the Islamic nature of Kashmir, the Islamic civilization, the Islamic culture in Kashmir is under threat of the Hindu nationalist government of Narendra Modi. That's the impression they want to give, however falsified it may be. While the Narendra Modi government, even though it's accused of Hindu nationalism every now and then, their focus has always been on getting more progress to Kashmir, getting more development to Jammu and Kashmir, the state, the union territories now which are in existence. So why is this sudden exit of Syed Shah Gilani very, very important? Why is it so important, even though he has not been in the news cycle for so long, even though his relevance has been sharply on the decline? Well, if one goes back a little bit to history, even Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, the former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, he blamed Syed Gilani for the bloodshed that happened in Kashmir. Omar Abdullah's father, Farooq Abdullah, often criticized Gilani, saying that he was the one who was misleading people when it came to the idea of Jammu and Kashmir, the ethos of Jammu and Kashmir. So even the former CMs actually disagreed with him. In 2000, when the state was to go to the legislative elections, Gilani made an appeal to the people to boycott these elections as they were not in the favor of the spirit he was trying to advocate, probably the spirit of separatism. The people proved him wrong, and rightfully so. In fact, the turnout in the 2014 elections was in excess of 65%. So for Gilani, that was a huge setback. Perhaps because the Indian media no longer saw him the kind of leader one could negotiate with as it was in the UP era. So this is where Gilani's prominence started to decline. This was which happened with the coming of the Modi government. Not just that, even though when Modi made an impromptu visit to Nawaz Sharif, this was in 2014, there were hopes that the two nations will sit down to reset the relationship between the two countries which have been ravaged by internal wars amongst themselves and the terrorism which has happened in the valley. It was expected. But the separatists were sidelined here also. Now compare this with 2004. After the Kargil war, the Gilani, in fact, along with other separatist leaders, he met the likes of BJP leaders. These included L.K. Advani, the then Deputy Prime Minister, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He met them, and this was the role separatists played. They could actually broker a peace deal between India and Pakistan out of a war. This is no longer happening under the Modi regime. The separatists have been reduced to zilch, to nada, to zero. Their prominence, their importance, it's all gone. And rightfully so. Now, one can easily argue that Gilani, over 90 years old, he had to resign for the health reasons. He was already in the dusk of his life, as it has happened with many other leaders in India. After they've crossed a certain age, let's say 85, 87, for whatever health reasons, they have stepped back. They have let the successes take on. But it's overall, one has to even debate the nature of separatism in Kashmir today. The relevance of separatism. Is an Azad Kashmir even possible anymore? Was it any time possible? No, it wasn't. And today, with Modi's systematic actions in the valley, one of the most prominent being the revoking of Article 370, these separatists have been further reduced to trash. Now, the last reasoning would be the changing dynamics of Kashmir, the valley, so as to say. The forces have been moving every now and then to eliminate terrorist bodies, to eliminate terrorist organizations, both which were made their headway into the valley during the last few years and the ones which are being sent by Pakistan. Just yesterday, we had news that only last month, 40 terrorists had been killed, 40 infiltrators had been killed by the Indian forces. So they are the changing dynamics of the state that also need to be taken into account, the changing dynamics of the valley. And Pakistan perhaps feels there's no need for Gilani anymore. And so even Kashmir. Gilani was not having any progressive agenda before, nor he has one now. This is Modi's victory against separatism, the same kind of separatism that thrived under the likes of the Congress, that even thrived under the likes of the BJP government under Atal Bihari Vajpayee. All of that has come to an end, and it is because of the systematic pursuit, the systematic elimination by the Narendra Modi government, and they must be credited for it. Thank you. We at Swarajya are working towards creating more exclusive videos, podcasts, and analysis for our Swarajya Patreon subscribers. We've added a link in that description, and you can go ahead and support us for as little as $4.99 on a monthly basis. We look forward to your support. Keep watching, keep supporting Swarajya.